Welcome to Shining Light Press. I'm your host, Freddie Lopez, founder and editor-in-chief of Shining Light Press, reporting the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Today, we have David Gordon. He is a candidate for the governor of New Mexico, and he is here with us to talk about the issues. We're also first going to be talking about a little the Santa Fe Plaza event in which there was a rally that was anti-lockdown against the governor's lockdown, and we're going to discuss that first before we get on to the issues. So, David Gordon, how are you today?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I've got a little bit of a complication from the results of the March 20th get-together. I'd like to clarify one, so I really appreciate the opportunity.
No problem, no problem. All right, so let's start from the beginning. So once we've got the Santa Fe Plaza event and how that started, how did it get, if there was miscommunication there, how did that go about?
Well, it's an interesting story. Maybe I'll give a little context to the meeting first in case somebody's completely new to the idea. So on March 20th, it was the International Freedom Day, and in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I brought together some friends at the plaza to demonstrate that we felt it was our constitutional right to live and breathe freely. Exactly what aspects of the Constitution that comes under is pretty interesting. It's under bodily integrity, and within the Fourth Amendment, and in fact, guidance, so to speak, on that. It's best to understand the Bill of Rights as a list of things the government cannot do, and that is clearly specified in the U.S. Constitution. It's what makes us Americans. It's what makes our country special. It actually is a country of and for the people. I happen to be one of them, and in this country, it is just against any sense of freedom that if you were a person walking out of your front door as you enter, call it public space where your sidewalk ends, you are somehow supposedly required to attach a device to your face in a mandatory way. It's not a question. As we set this our demonstration, and what we demonstrated was how it is to live and breathe freely. We had music, we were dancing, playing drums, smiling, talking like normal humans, and we demand that right. There were a number of protests around the state, but we really went where it would matter. We had a massive police presence for the nature of what we were doing. There were 7-8 officers arrayed around. I had been in communication with Ortiz prior to the event, giving him an idea of what we were up to. And a couple things. You cannot have a meeting on the plaza of more than 25 people unless you have a permit. That's completely understandable. We were about 50 people. We weren't really a meeting. We were very dispersed, sitting around in benches here and there, but dedicatedly without masking. I again had spoken with the officer, him that day first, probably 3 times, checking in with him. And we developed some parameters that would allow us to have our demonstration, and allow him to kind of more or less give us have some discretion and say, yes, this is a protest, and yes, they can be unmasked. But Officer Ortiz made it very clear that we are under threat of imminent arrest or citation. And so he had his position there based on the laws, allegedly, not allegedly, but I find them anti-constitutional, and any law that's anti-constitutional is immediately for it. It just doesn't exist. And so I find the laws to be that way. So anyways, but he had his position, and he asked us, I always do this. In fact, when I walked up to speak to him, I would put my mask up because out of common courtesy. Some people have really a wrong idea. We only say that we demand the right to and clarify the constitutional right to live and breathe freely in public. People, if it's a private business, I wear my mask all the time. I'm in and out of businesses all the time. So that's kind of an outline of what we had in mind. Again, we're standing for the basic right to live and breathe freely, and then I'll tell you the rest of the story, but you have some questions.
Yes, and I agree totally because